Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Century Theatre. Thank you for joining us for this production of Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare, translated into modern verse by Ranjit Bolt. Immediately after the show, there will be a short artistic response to the play by spoken word artist Tamika Stedman. My name is Sam. I am of mixed race, tall, brown hair, brown skin, and brown eyes. You join us today in a world of brick walls, colourful bunting, trestle tables, chairs, flowers, and candles. I'm joined on stage by the entire cast. Today I play Don Pedro. Don Pedro is a prince, and he is friends with Benedict and Claudio. I am wearing black military boots, camouflage trousers, and a green beret. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Emily, and I'm a white person with long brown hair, currently in half plaits, and I'm wearing white shoes, khaki trousers, a brown vest with a white shirt over the top, and I'm playing Beatrice.
Hello, I'm Lewis. I'm wearing black boots, camouflage trousers, a white vest, and a green shirt. I have a shaved head, and I'll be playing Benedict.
Hello, I'm Norma. I'm of Indian descent. I have brown skin, brown eyes, and long dark hair, which today's held back in a bun. I'm playing Leonata, and I'm wearing a long purple dress with beige coloured flat shoes, and I'm using a wheelchair. Leonata is the governor of the city. She has a niece, Beatrice, and a daughter.
Hello, my name is Tamika. I'm a black woman with long black hair. I'm wearing white boots, a white dress with a purple overcoat. I'm playing the role of Hero. Hero is Leonata's daughter. I also play another character, which is Burgess. Burgess is a police officer. When I will be playing Burgess, I'll be wearing this, a white shirt.
Hello, my name's Jamie, and I'm a tall white man with short dark hair. I play the role of Claudio, who is a soldier, and I'm wearing black boots, camouflage trousers, and a khaki t-shirt. I also play a second character, which is the Sexton, who's a bit like a judge, and when I play that character, I'll be wearing this, a black gown and spectacles.
Hello, I'm Dylan. I'm a tall white man with short hair and a red beard. I'm currently wearing black boots, camouflage trousers, and a green t-shirt. I'll be playing Don John, who's brother to Don Pedro. I will also be playing Antonio. When I play Antonio, I'll be wearing this sharp suit, and Antonio is brother to Leonata.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm a black man with black short hair. I'm wearing a pink t-shirt and a black waistcoat over that. I'm wearing blue jeans and black and white shoes. I'll be playing Baraccio, and Baraccio works for Don John.
Hi, I'm Imelda. I'm a brown woman with black long hair. I'm wearing a long blue dress along with purple and white checkered shoes. I'll be playing Margaret, who is a member of Leonata's household staff. I'm also playing a trainee police officer, and when I do, I'll be wearing this white shirt.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm a white woman with brown hair. I'm wearing a purple top, beige skirt, and red shoes. I play Ursula, who works for Leonata. I also play a trainee police officer, and when I do, I'll be wearing this, a white shirt.
Hello, I'm Misha. I'm wearing denim dungarees, a white pair of boots, and a white top. I'm a white woman with mid-length dark auburn hair. At the start and the end of the play, I play a messenger. I also play Dogberry, who is a police constable, and when I do, I'll be wearing a white shirt and black tie. I also play Francis, a vicar. When I do, I'll be wearing a jacket with a purple sash draped around my shoulders.
Thank you. Well, that's all of us well and truly introduced. We hope you enjoy the show.
Leonata dozes. Beatrice reads a book. Hero writes in a notebook. Margaret cleans the chairs. The messenger rushes in. She taps the shoulder of Leonata, who wakes up. She gives Leonata a letter and curtsies.
Oh, says in this letter Don Pedro will be in the city tonight.
He must be very nearby now, Your Excellency. He was less than 10 miles away when I left him.
Tell me, how many men did he lose in this last battle?
Not many, and no one of any importance.
Well, the fewer the losses, the sweeter the victory.
Quite so, Your Excellency.
It also says here that the prince has promoted a young count called Claudio.
He has, Your Excellency, and richly deserved. Claudio fought with great courage and with a skill far beyond his years. The lamb became a lion, so to speak. He so surpassed expectation that no report of mine could do him justice.
Might I inquire, is Sir Mountanto back from the war?
Sir Mountanto? I know no one of that name. I don't believe there was a Mountanto in our army.
Who is this Mountanto, niece?
I think my cousin's referring to Sir Benedict.
Oh, he's back and as charming as ever.
Last time he was here, he challenged Cupid to an archery contest. Cupid wasn't interested, but one of my aunt's servants did give him a match, shooting sparrows with a catapult. Tell me, how many men has he killed and eaten in this war, or rather, how many has he killed, since I promised to eat anyone he did kill?
You're very hard on Benedict, niece, but he'll get even with you, just you wait.
Benedict accounted for himself very well, my lady.
You mean he accounted for all the mouldy provisions? That man could eat for England.
He's an excellent soldier too, my lady.
An excellent soldier to a lady, but to a lord.
To a lord too, and a man. He's stuffed with great qualities.
Exactly, a stuffed man. Though I fear the stuffing may turn out to be straw.
You must take my niece with a pinch of salt. There's a kind of merry war between her and Benedict, and whenever they get together, there's sure to be a clash of wits.
Worse luck for him. In our last encounter, 4 of his 5 wits went limping off. I doubt whether he has wit enough left now to keep himself warm. If he has, he had better wear it in his hat next time he rides into battle. That way, the enemy may still be able to distinguish between him and his horse. Who's his latest companion? He seems to have a new best friend every month.
Really?
Oh, yes. He drops old pals and picks up new ones like I do hats.
He's clearly not in your good books.
If he were, I'd burn my library. But you haven't answered my question. Who's his latest buddy? Is there no brawler or gamester who'll go to hell with him?
He and Claudio are boon companions and always together.
Oh, God help him! God help Claudio. Benedict will cling to him like a disease. He's more easily caught than the plague, and once he is, the victim goes mad within a week. No, God help Claudio. If he's caught the Benedict, it will cost him £1,000 to be rid of it.
I've no wish to fall out with you, lady.
You'll never catch the Benedict, eh, niece?
No, not till a hot January.
Here comes Don Pedro.
Don Pedro, Benedict, Claudio and Don John arrive through the auditorium onto the stage.
Dear Leonata! When you come to greet your trouble, most people try to avoid expense, but you are eager to meet it.
My lord, I can think of no one who can be less trouble than yourself. Trouble is something we're glad to be rid of, but when you leave, I'm sad.
This is better hospitality than any man deserves. And this must be your daughter, Hero. How could such a good-looking girl have any other mother? Be happy, lady. You have an honourable mother, and you are like her.
Well, she certainly has her eyes, but I doubt she want her hair. I mean her old lady hair.
I can't think why you're still talking, Sir Benedict. No one's listening to you.
Well, if it isn't my lady Disdain, still alive then?
Oh, how could Disdain die when there are people like Sir Benedict around to nourish it? Courtesy itself. would turn to disdain if it met you.
Then courtesy is a turncoat. All women love me, yourself accepted, and I wish I had it in my heart to love them back, but I can't.
Which is lucky for them, else they find themselves saddled with a tiresome suitor. But I'm happy to say I'm like you, a cold fish. I would rather my dog bark to crow than a man swear he loves me.
Let's hope you stay that way, or some poor fellow will have his eyes scratched out.
It might improve his looks. It certainly would in your case.
God, how witty!
At least I have my share of wit, unlike some who, it would seem, are witless.
If only my horse was as quick as your tongue. I'd win every race out there. I think I'll leave you to vent your bile elsewhere.
That's you, all over.
Beatrice signs. When the going gets tough, you beat a tactical retreat.
Excellent. Benedict, Claudio, Leonata has offered us bed and board. I told her we should like to stay a month. She said she hopes something may happen to keep us longer. And I could swear she means it.
So that, my lord, and you won't be forsworn. You are welcome too, Don John. Now that you've made your peace with Prince, your brother, you are welcome.
Thanks. I'm not a great talker. But thanks.
My lord, are we going?
Ah, give me your hand, we'll go together.
Everyone leaves, apart from Claudio and Benedict.
Say, Benedict, did you note Leonata's daughter?
I didn't note her, I saw her.
A modest creature, wouldn't you say?
You want a straight answer, or shall I reply in my official capacity as a man that's never met a woman that's measured up to his standards?
A straight answer, please.
Then I think she's too short for tall praise and too thin for broad praise. All I can say is, if she looked any different, she wouldn't be pretty and looking as she does. She's not my cup of tea.
No, seriously, what do you think of her?
Why are you so eager for my opinion? Are you thinking of buying her?
Who could afford such a precious jewel?
I could. And a little purse to put it in.
Benedict opens a hip flask.
Are you serious about this?
I think she's the loveliest girl that I ever saw.
Not in my eyes, she isn't. And I can see without spectacles. Now her cousin, aside from being a fiend out of hell, as far surpasses her as the first that made us the last of December. But I hope you're not thinking of marrying.
Well, if Hero would have me, I don't know that I wouldn't.
I don't believe it. Does every man in the country want to become a cockhold? Will I never see a bachelor of 60 again? Well, if you want to let a hen peck at you and turn even Sunday into a day of toil and strife, I won't try and stop you. Oh, here comes Don Pedro looking for you.
Well, you two, what's the big secret?
I wish you would make me tell, Your Grace.
I command you on your allegiance.
You hear that count? On my allegiance. He's in love. You're supposed to say who with. The answer's short enough. Leonata's short daughter, Hero.
Oh, is this true?
It might be.
Well, she would make any man an excellent wife.
Oh, Your Grace, are you trying to trap me into a confession?
Upon my word, I was simply stating my opinion.
And upon my honour, I was stating mine.
And upon both my word and my honour, I was stating mine.
Do you love her?
I think so.
I know she deserves to be loved.
I can't see why anyone should love her, and I don't see why she deserves it. And you can burn me at the stake before I renounce either of those beliefs.
Yeah, if the worship of women was the official religion, you'd be the chief heretic.
As stubborn a one as you could hope to meet.
A woman conceived me, I thank her for that, and raised me, I thank her for that too, but to sprout a pair of horns and put my sword in an invisible scabbard, no thank you. Not trusting them now saves me a great deal of mistrust later. In fine, I'm fine as I am.
Someday I'll see you looking pale with love.
With sickness, maybe, with anger, or with hunger, but never with love. If ever you see me look so pale from love that a glass of wine or two won't put the colour back in my cheeks, you can pluck my eyes out with the writer's pen and hang me outside a tavern as a sign of blind Cupid.
God help you if you're proved wrong.
If I am, you can hang me in a basket like a cat and shoot arrows at me.
Time will tell. In time, the cock of the north is pecked by a hen.
The cock of the north may be, the sensible Benedict won't. And if he does, you can have a picture painted of me with my head as a cock, and underneath, in big letters, as they write horses for hire, write Benedict the married man.
If that ever did happen, you would be even more cocky.
Yeah, if Cupid hasn't used up all his arrows, you'll soon be eating your words.
Sure, and pigs might fly.
Yeah, as I say, time will tell. Meanwhile, go to Leonata and tell her I'll be there for supper. I know she's gone to a lot of trouble.
My lord, I think I might require your help.
What won't I do for such a valued friend? You'll quickly find how readily I'll go to any lengths to be of use to you.
Does Leonata have a son, my lord?
Hero is her only child and sole heir. She's caught your eye, I take it?
Oh, your grace. When we set off to fight this last campaign, I viewed her only with a soldier's eye. I liked her, but had tougher tasks in hand, no time to force that liking into love. But now that we've returned and thoughts of war no longer occupy me, in their place, tender and sweet desires come crowding in. I think of Hero, and I think of her beauty, and I remember being struck by her before I went to war.
Yeah, this sounds quite like a lover. Give it time, you'll soon be boring everybody sick with talk of her. She's taking your fancy. Fine. I know. I'll break the news to Hero and her mother, and you shall have her. That was your aim, wasn't it, in spinning me this convoluted yarn?
How kindly you administer to love. You read a lover's pain in his complexion. I feared my love might seem a touch too sudden, and would have eked my explanation out.
Why should the bridge be wider than the stream? You've told me you love her. Just say no more, no less. Just say what you mean. That's enough. I know there'll be festivities tonight. I shall attend them in disguise as you. I will speak to Hero in the shape of Claudio. Apparently, pour my heart out to her and tell her such a vivid tale of love that she'll have no option but to yield to it. That accomplished, I'll inform her mother, and the conclusion is, you shall have her. Let's go and put this into practice right away.
Lights fade. Actors enter the stage and remove the chairs. They position one of the trestle tables upstage. Leonata enters using a wheelchair, assisted by Beatrice. Lights up. Leonata sits at the table and writes. Enter Antonio.
Sister, I have astonishing news.
Good.
Yes, it is good. Depending on the outcome. About an hour ago, Don Pedro and Claudia were walking through my orchard when they were overheard by a servant of mine talking about my niece. The prince told Claudia he was in love with her and was going to tell her so tonight during the dancing. He said provided he returned her love, that she would come and speak to you right away.
This servant of yours, can his report be relied on?
Well, he's extremely smart.
We won't lend any credence to it till it's confirmed, but I'd better warn my daughter. Then, if it's true, she'll be forewarned and she can give a suitable answer. Antonio, go to her and let her know.
Lights fade. Lights up. Enter Vernacular, holding a cup. He He drinks from the cup. He's waiting. He reaches inside his pocket and takes out a cupcake. He eats it.
Yes. That's good. I like that.
He's still waiting. He checks over his shoulder and places the cup on the ground.
Right.
He breaks off a bit of cake.
Just get this in the cup. Easy.
He aims and throws.
Damn it! No, it's just practice. It was just practice. Okay.
He tries again.
Oh, damn it! That's just another practice one. It's fine. Come on.
Behind him, Don John enters.
No! Come, my lord! Why so sad?
I'm no sadder than the situation demands. That's to say, very sad indeed.
I wish you'd listen to reason.
And what good will that do me?
It'll give you the strength to endure.
What planet were you born under? Saturn, wasn't it? You're supposed to take a cynical view of life, and yet here you are preaching stoic virtues of me. I'm in torment, damn it! I can't hide what I am. I must eat when I'm hungry and not wait for anyone. Sleep when I'm tired, even if it means missing an audience with a king. Laugh when I'm happy without caring who I offend. And sulk when I'm sad, though the jokes have never been so funny.
Sure, but keep your sulking to yourself, at least while you're still accountable to your brother. You crossed swords with him, now you're back in favour. If you're to take root there, you must make your own climate. Create the weather that will suit your harvest.
I'd rather be a wild rose in a hedge than attain one in his favour. I prefer to be loathed by people than duck and weave to keep their affection. I may be a villain, but at least I'm a sincere one. I've been trusted with a muzzle, set free with a chain, so I've decided not to sing in my cage. Find my teeth, I bite. Find my freedom, I do as I please. In the meantime, let me be myself and don't try to change me.
Can you put your discontent to some use?
I used a lot. In fact, I used nothing else. Anyway, Braccio, what's new?
I just came from a big fat dinner party. The prince, your brother, is being lavishly entertained by Leonardo, and guess what? There's a marriage in the offing.
Any chance of mischief? Which one of these idiots is consigning himself to a life of misery?
Only your brother's right-hand man.
Not cute little Claude.
That's the guy.
Top-class stuffed shirt. Who's the lucky lady?
Hero. Leonardo's daughter and heir.
Bet you can't wait, filthy little bitch. How did you find this out?
You know those guys who come and perfume your house? I was posing as one, and while I was lighting some incense sticks in the musty room, the prince and Claudio came in, arm in arm, talking very seriously. I hid behind the curtain and heard them discussing a plan they'd cooked up whereby the prince would woo Hero for himself, and once he'd got her, give her to Claudio.
Well, what are we waiting for? I smell an excellent outlet for my displeasure. Ever since I've fallen from grace, that little upstart has stepped right into my shoes. If I can screw things up for him in any way, I'll enjoy myself in every way. Can I count on you, Braccio?
To the death, my lord.
Then let's hit this party. Doubtless they're all having an extra good time since I've been put back in my box. If only the cook felt the same way as I did. But let's go see what havoc we can wreak. To trash that jumped-up jerk would make my week.
I'll wait upon your lordship.
Lights fade. Stars appear. Margaret and Ursula enter and lay the trestle tables with tablecloths, bowls and flowers. Enter Leonardo assisted by Hero. Lights up. Enter Beatrice. Who tries to shorten Hero's dress. Leonata tries to lengthen it. Enter Antonio.
Was Don John at dinner tonight?
I didn't see him.
Now there's a sour looking fellow. Whenever I see him, I have heartburn for an hour afterwards.
He's certainly a shady looking character.
Though I tell you my idea of the perfect man. One halfway between him and our friend Benedict.
Beatrice signs. You know my idea of the perfect man? One halfway between him and our friend Benedict. One stands there like a statue and says nothing. The other babbles on, non-stop, like a precocious child.
So, half of Benedict's tongue in Don John's mouth and half of Don John's melancholy in Benedict's face.
With a decent leg and money in his purse, a man like that could get any woman he wanted. If he could get her to like him.
You'll never find a husband, niece. Your tongue's too sharp.
She sure is angry.
There's a saying, God gives an angry cow short horns. Well, to a cow that's too angry, he gives none.
So if you're too angry, he'll give you none?
Right, so long as he gives me no husband, a blessing to which I pray to him morning, noon and night. No, God preserve me from a husband. Oh, that stubble! I would rather sleep in woolen blankets with no sheets.
Marry a man with no beard.
What would I do with him? Dress him in my clothes and make him my maid? A man with no beard is more than a youth, and a man with no beard is less than a man. If he's more than a youth, I'm not for him. If he's less than a man, he's not for me. What is it they say? Old maids lead beasts in hell. Well, my leash is ready.
You planning on going to hell, niece?
I'll get as far as the gate, and the devil will meet me like an old cuckold with horns on his head and say, "What are you doing here, Beatrice? This is no place for virgins. Be off with you to heaven." So I'll hand over my beasts and off I'll go to heaven, and St. Peter will let me in and show me where the virgins sit. And there will live as merry as the day is long.
Well, niece, I trust you'll do as your mother tells you.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's my cousin's role in life. To curtsy and say, "Yes, mother. No, mother. As you wish, mother." All the same, cousin. Let him be handsome. Or else curtsy again and say, "As I wish, mother."
I hope to see you married someday.
Oh, God, no. Not till God makes men out some other substance than clay. What woman wouldn't resent being dominated by a speck of dust? Having to account to her life to a clod? No, auntie, please. No husband for me. Men are Adam's sons, which makes them my brothers, and I no wish to commit incest.
Remember what I told you. If the prince proposes, you know your answer.
Beatrice takes Hero aside. She signs to her. If you're not wooed in good time, cousin, the fault will be the music's. If the prince is too importunate, tell him there should be measure in everything and dance your answer. Hero, wooing, wedding and repenting are like a Scots jig, a waltz and a minuet. The wooing is hot and hurried like a jig and every bit as wild. The wedding is stately, ceremonial, rather like a waltz. Then comes repentance, with his gouty legs, and sinks further and further into a minuet. till he sinks into his grave.
You have a keen intelligence, niece.
I have sharp eyes, Auntie. I can see a church by daylight.
The guests are here.
Don Pedro, Claudio and Benedict. Everyone puts on masks. Don Pedro approaches Hero.
Dear lady, will you walk with your friend?
As long as you walk slow and look sweet and say nothing, I will walk with you, especially when I walk away.
May I walk away with you?
Perhaps.
But when?
When I like your face. God forbid the lute should be like the case.
My mask is like Philemon's roof. Under it is Job.
Well, in that case, your mask should be thatched.
Speak low if you speak of love.
Margaret walks away from Vernacular, who follows her.
I wish you did like me.
If I don't, it's for your sake. I have many bad qualities.
Such as?
I say my prayers aloud.
I like that. Anyone hearing you can say amen.
All right then. God, send me a partner who can dance.
Amen.
God, get rid of him when the dance is over. Answer that, Mr. Priest.
Enough! The priest is answered.
Ursula.
I know you. You're dear Antonio.
Oh, no, I'm not.
I know you by the way your head waggles.
I'm pretending to be him.
You couldn't do him so badly well unless you were him. Oh, look. This is his dry hand. You're him, you're him.
I'm not.
Come on, you have his wit, his charm. Can such appeal hide itself?
Beatrice and Benedict.
Who told you this?
I cannot say.
And you won't tell me who you are.
Not now.
They said I was disdainful, and that I got my wit out of a book of fairy tales. It must have been Benedict.
Please, who's Benedict?
You must know Benedict.
I assure you, I do not.
Did he never make you laugh?
Please, who is he?
Oh, he's the prince's jester,
What?
only he's not funny. His speciality is making up nasty, ridiculous things about people. No one likes him, only rakes and gamblers, and then, not because he's charming or amusing, but wicked and dissolute. He amuses people and infuriates them by turns. Half the time they laugh at him, half the time they want to hit him. I'm sure he's in the league. I wish he'd boarded me.
If I meet him, I'll tell him what you said.
Do! He'll just compare me to this or that, and then when you take no notice or don't laugh, he'll sob. And then a chicken wing will be saved, for the fool will eat no supper that night.
Margaret signs to Beatrice. It's time for the dance.
Come, we must follow the leaders.
Quite so.
That said, if they lead us to anything bad, I'll lead them at the next turning.
Everyone leaves except for Claudio alone and Don John and Borachio together, all still masked.
My brother's in love with Hero. He's just taken Leonardo aside to speak to him now. All the ladies have gone with him. Only one mask remains.
Claudio, to judge from the way he struts about.
Benedict!
Yes?
You're a close friend of my brother's. He's in love with Hero. Could you please try and talk him out of it? Her rank is way too low for him. You're doing a good deed.
How do you know he loves her?
I heard him swear he did.
Me too. He said he was going to marry her tonight.
Let's go eat.
Don John and Borachio leave. Claudio is alone. He takes off his mask.
I answered in the name of Benedict, but heard this sickening news with Claudio's ears. Then it's plain. The prince is wooing for himself. True friendship isn't often undermined, but when it is, love is the likeliest cause. So lovers, when you woo, use your own words. Let every eye negotiate for itself. Trust no third party. Ha! Beauty is a witch whose magic melts down loyalty to lust. We see examples of it every day, and I ignored them all. Ha! So farewell, Hero.
Enter Benedict.
Come, Claudio!
The same.
Let's go.
Where?
The nearest tree.
Ha.
Which fashion will you wear the garland of? Around your neck like Easter's chain, or on your arm like Lieutenant Scarf. You have to wear it one way. The prince has got your hero.
I wish him joy of her.
You sound like a farmer who just sold someone a cow. I wish him joy of her. I bet you never thought the prince would play a trick like this on you.
Go away.
What? Lashing out? A boy steals your lunch and you hit the friend that tells you.
All right, I'll go.
Oh, that's right. Creep off into the reeds like a wounded duck.
Benedict is alone.
To think that Beatrice would know me and not know me. The prince's jester. I'm being too hard on myself. No one calls me that. Except her. She's bitter. So she thinks everybody thinks like her. No. I'll be revenged somehow.
Enter Don Pedro.
Have you seen Claudio?
Oh, he was just here. And a pitiful sight he was too. I told him, I think correctly,
Enter Leonardo, assisted by Hero.
that you had stolen his girl. Then I offered to take him to a willow tree, to fashion a garland as for being forsaken, or to bind him up a rod as deserving to be whipped.
A tree.
Yes, to hang himself, or even to cut him a rod to beat him with.
Why? What's he done?
The classic transgression of a schoolboy who, finding a bird's nest, is so pleased with himself he can't resist showing it to his friend, who promptly steals it.
Surely it's the friend who did wrong.
I'd say it's about equal. Before he hanged himself, I'd say he beat you, since it's you, if I'm right, that stole his bird's nest.
Only to teach the chicks how to sing.
Well, let's hope the song confirms your tale.
Beatrice is angry with
No.
you. It seems the man she danced with told her that you maligned her outrageously.
I maligned her! She abused me past the endurance of a block. An oak tree with one leaf on it would have answered her. My very mask began to assume life and argue with her. She told me, not realising it was me, obviously, that I was the prince's jester. I was duller than a great Thor piling up jibe upon jibe with such vehemence that I stood there like a target in the green with the whole village shooting at me. She speaks, daggers, every word stabs. If her breath were as terrible as her terminations, there'd be no going near her. She would infect the North Star. Oh, I wouldn't marry her if she'd been left everything Adam possessed before he was thrown out of paradise. She'd unman me in no time, have me dancing to her tune like Omphale when he turned Hercules into a scullery maid. Oh. She is discord in a dress. We should fetch a priest and have her exorcised. She makes hell seem like a sanctuary. In fact, I'm surprised people don't sin on purpose so as to be sent to hell to get the hell away from her.
Here she comes.
Oh, Your Grace, do you have no mission for me? I will go now on the most trivial errand. I will fetch a toothpick from the furthest reaches of Asia. I will find out the length of the King of Abyssinia's foot and report back to you. I will pluck a hair from the mogul's beard, so long as not to spend 3 words conversation with this harpy. Do you have no task for me?
Only to stay and be your charming self.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. That is one meal I cannot stomach. I cannot stand my lady tongue.
Beatrice, I'm afraid you've lost Benedict Hart.
My lord, he did lend it me for a while, and I paid him back with interest. 2 hearts for his one. He won mine from me with loads of dice, so you may say I lost it.
You've put him down, lady. You've put him down.
He won't be putting me down anytime soon. I've no wish to give birth to fools. You sent me to find Count Claudio. Here he is.
Oh, why so sad, Count?
Not sad, my lord.
Oh, sick then.
Not sick either.
The Count is neither happy nor sad, neither sick nor well, but civil. Civil, Count. As civil as an orange. You are looking a little green around the gills though. Not jealousy, I hope.
You're right. He does look rather green. If he's jealous, he's no reason to be. Here, Claudio, I've wooed in your name and Hero is yours. I've obtained her mother's consent. Name the day and may God give you joy.
Count, take my daughter and all I have with her.
Hero and Claudio hold hands.
Speak, Count. It's your cue.
Silence is the best harbinger of joy. I would not be very happy if I could say how happy I was. Lady, if you're mine, I'm yours. I give myself away and call it an excellent bargain.
For God's sake, cousin, kiss him and shut him up. Oh,
You have a sunny temperament, madam.
well, it keeps on the windy side of care, my lord. I'm grateful to it for that. Poor fool. Now, she's whispering in his ear that he's in her heart.
So she is, cousin.
Am I your cousin? Why, so I am. Everyone's married except me, and no one will have me. I'm too sharp. Oh well, I'll sit in a corner and cry, hey hey for husband.
I'll get you one.
I'd rather have one begot by your father. My praise, you don't happen to have any brothers like you, do you? Your father begot excellent husbands, if a girl could get one.
Will you have me, lady?
By all means, my lord. So long as I can have a spare for working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day. Forgive me, I'm incapable of being serious.
It's your silence that offends me most. Your disposition suits you perfectly. You must have been born in a merry hour.
Not so, my lord. My mother cried. But then a star dance, and I was born under that. Cousins, may God give you joy.
Have you seen to the things I mentioned?
Oh, yes, Auntie. If you'll excuse me, your grace.
Don Pedro kisses Beatrice's hand. Beatrice leaves.
My God, but she's charming. She's so vibrant.
There's not an ounce of gloom in her. She's only serious when she's asleep. Not even then. My daughter tells me Beatrice often dreams of sad things at night and wakes herself up laughing.
She won't have tell of her husband.
Oh, no. If a man comes courting, she teases him so mercilessly, he becomes tongue-tied.
She'd make an excellent wife for Benedict.
For Benedict? They talk themselves mad inside a week.
Claudio, when's the wedding?
Tomorrow. Time walks on crutches until love has all his rights.
Not before Monday. That's only a week and a touch too hasty, if you ask me.
Ah, you shake your head at such a long wait, but I guarantee time will not go idly by in the interim. I'm about to undertake a Herculean feat. I mean, to make Beatrice and Benedict fall totally, hopelessly in love with one another. Hey, I'm determined to make this match, and I don't doubt I can, if you three will assist me and follow my instructions.
Count me in, my lord. I'll do it if it kills me.
Me too?
Hero?
My lord, I'll do anything proper to help my cousin find a good husband.
Benedict oughtn't make a bad husband. I mean, he's from a good family, he's a brave soldier, as he's proven on many occasions, and a man of honour. I'll show you how to humour your cousin and make her fall in love with Benedict, while I, with your help, will trick Benedict so he falls hook, line and sinker in love with Beatrice. If we can do this, Cupid may as well throw away his bow and arrow. His glory shall be ours, and we will be the only love gods. Come on, let's go in and I'll tell you my plan.
They all leave. Lights fade. Lights up on Don John and Borachio.
So, Claudio is marrying Leonardo's daughter.
Yes, my lord, but I can stop it.
Any trouble, any obstacle, any upset will be balm to my soul. I'm sick with hatred of him. Anything that goes against his inclinations is in step with mine. How can you disrupt this wedding?
Not honestly, but so secretly that my dishonesty will not be found out.
Yes, but how?
My lord, I believe I told you some time ago how attached Margaret, Hero's servant, is to me.
I remember.
Suppose I got her to look out her mistress's bedroom window late at night when no respectable young lady would dream of doing so.
And what life is there in that to be the death of this marriage?
There's poison in it, but it's up to you to extract it. Go to your brother. Tell him he's harming his honour by marrying the renowned Claudio to a filthy slut. Be sure to say what a fine man Claudio is and how much you respect him.
And just how am I going to prove that Hero is a filthy slut?
You'll prove it well enough to deceive the prince, drive Claudio to despair, and kill Leonardo. Will that satisfy you?
I'd do anything to harm them.
Go then. Find some opportunities to get Don Pedro and Count Claudio alone. Tell them you know Hero loves me. Pretend you're eager to be of service to them, like you're concerned for your brother's honour since he arranged his marriage, and for Claudio's reputation, now he's about to be palmed off with a whore masquerading as a chaste young virgin. Say that's why you're telling them all this. They'll want proof. Obviously, tell them you can get it. The proof in question will in fact consist of them seeing me under Hero's bedroom window, hearing me call Margaret Hero, and Margaret call me Claudio. You must bring him to see us tonight before the wedding. I'll arrange for Hero to not be in her room. The evidence of her wickedness will be so convincing that jealousy will be as good as proof, and the whole business will be wrecked.
Well, I'll do it. I don't care what happens as long as it's bad. And there's 100,000 in for you if we succeed.
Stick to your story, leave the rest to me.
I'll find out when the wedding is to be.
They leave. Lights fade. Act actors pick up 2 tables and place them on their long sides. This creates the effect of a fence. Lights up. Enter Benedict jogging. He wears a sweatband around his head and shorts. He's sweating and he stretches.
It never ceases to amaze me what a clown another man turns into when he falls in love. Take Claudio. I can remember when the only music he listened to was the drum and the fife. Now I'd rather hear someone sing a syrupy song accompanied by a guitar. Only a week ago, he'd have walked 10 miles to see a new suit of armour. Now he'd lie awake 10 nights thinking of a pattern for a new jacket. He used to speak plainly and to the purpose, like a soldier and a gentleman. Now he's turned into a kind of prose poet. His conversation is like a meal at the latest restaurant, one weird dish after another. Will I ever undergo such a transformation and see with his eyes?
He sits on the edge of the stage.
Who knows? I don't think so. I can't promise love will never turn me into an oyster or another of the lowest of God's creatures, but I won't act that way until he has. A woman can be beautiful. I'm fine. Intelligent. Good luck to her. Selfless, prudent, kind, not a problem. Until all good qualities come together in one woman, no one woman will make me fall for her. She will be rich, that's for sure. And smart.
He stands up.
Good-natured. An excellent musician. Great conversation from a brilliant family. And her hair, well, her hair can be whatever colour it likes. Here comes Don Pedro and Monsieur Love. I'll hide here.
He hides in front of the fence. Enter Don Pedro, Claudio and Leonata behind the fence.
Do you see him? Hiding over there?
Plainly, my lord. Let's lead this crouching fox a merry dance.
Leonata, what was it you were telling me the other day? That your niece Beatrice was in love with Benedict?
Stalk on, the fowl is in our sights.
That's right.
Who would have thought it? Beatrice, of all people.
That's right, and with Benedict, whom she's given every outward sign of loathing.
I don't believe it. Is this how the land lies?
It's incredible. All I know is she really does love him. In fact, she's practically out of her wits with passion for him. She's so much in love that it's impossible to conceive the depth of her adoration.
You don't think she might be pretending?
Good point. She might be.
No one could act love so convincingly.
Really? What makes you say that?
Bait the hook well. The fish is going to bite.
What makes me say that? Well, for instance, she'll sit. You heard my daughter say how
She did.
She sits, you say? Astonishing. I always thought she was, how shall I put it, love-proof.
So did I. And above all, Benedict-proof.
I think this was a trick, but Leonata doesn't go in for practical jokes. She's far too old.
Swallowed it. Keep it up.
Has she told him?
No, and she swears she never will. Poor girl, she's in torment.
Oh, that's right. Hero was telling me the same thing only this morning. How, says Beatrice, how can I write to him and tell him that I love him when I've treated him with such contempt?
That's right. That's what she says when she's about to write to him. She will sit there, she'll be up 20 times a night, and she'll sit in her nightdress and write sheets and sheets.
Speaking of sheets, did you hear that joke of Hero's?
Yes. Beatrice was writing a letter to Benedict, And my daughter looked on and said, now Beatrice and Benedict are between the sheets.
That was it!
And then she tore the letter into 1,000 pieces and started to scold herself for writing to someone who was sure to reject her.
No.
I'm judging by my own lights, she said, for if he were to write to him, I'd soon send him packing, even though I love him.
And then she falls to her knees and starts crying and sobbing and praying and cursing and tearing at her hair. Oh, Benedict, sweet Benedict, God help me!
She does. My daughter tells us everything. She's afraid she may do herself some mischief. She's in such a state.
Well, if she won't tell him, someone should.
Nah, what would be the point? He'd only make fun of her. She'd be worse off than if she kept quiet.
Well, if he did, it'd be a good deed to hang him. I mean, she's beautiful, she's good-natured, she's chaste.
And intelligent.
Except for being in love with Benedict.
Intelligence is no match for love. Love wins that particular contest 9 times out of 10. Poor girl, I feel sorry for her. Why shouldn't I? I'm her auntie and her guardian.
I wish she felt like that about me. I'd have married her like that. I mean, she's not rich, she's way below me in station. Who cares? The girl's a peach. She's gold dust. Someone should tell Benedict. When he finds out, he might change his tune.
Oh, do you think that would be wise?
Well, Hero says she might die. She says she'll die if he doesn't love her. She'll die rather than tell him she loves him. And if he proclaims himself, she'll die before she gives up fighting with him.
Quite right. Anyway, if he did tell her, if she did tell him, he'd only spurn her. He likes nothing better than to make someone feel small.
He's a good man.
He's a good-looking man.
Yes, and he's smart.
He does show the odd spark of something not unlike intelligence.
Oh, he's courageous too, no?
As Hector. And when going into quarrels, you could say he showed intelligence because he goes out of his way to avoid them. And if he does have to have one, he goes into it with a very Christian fearfulness.
If he's a God-fearing man, he'll keep the peace. If he should break it and start a quarrel, he should be fearful.
He will be, because he does fear God. Although you wouldn't think it to hear some of the crude jokes he comes out with. I say we go find Benedict and tell him.
Nah, she's a sensible girl. She'll get over it.
Oh, I'm afraid her heart may break first.
Well, how about we learn more of this from Hero? In the meantime, we'll leave well enough alone. I mean, I'm extremely fond of Benedict, but I wish he would look into his heart and learn some modesty. Maybe then he'd realise how little he deserves such a remarkable woman.
Dinner is served.
Shall we go?
If he's not crazy about her after this, I'm a Dutchman's uncle.
We must set the same trap for Beatrice. Your daughter and her maids can take care of that. The best bit will be when each thinks the other's in love with them, and they're not at all. Oh, let's send her to bring him in to dinner.
They leave. Benedict is alone. He turns to the audience suddenly.
This can't be a trick. Their conversation was totally serious. Their source was Hero. They seemed to pity Beatrice. Oh, she's got it bad. Love me. Oh, this must be requited. I heard how they criticised me. What was it? He likes nothing better than to make someone feel small. They think I look proud and spurn her if she declares herself, which it seems she'd rather die than do. No, I mustn't be proud. I never thought I'd marry. They say she's beautiful. It's true. And good-natured. Well, also true. Intelligent except for loving me. Well, it's hardly a sign of intelligence, but it won't be a sign of stupidity either, since I am going to be horribly in love with her. Oh, there'll be wisecracks, of course, at my expense, since I have spoken out so vociferously against marriage, but can't a man change his mind? People often find they adore a dish when they're older that they hated when they were young. Oh, no, the world must be populated. When I said I'd die a bachelor, I just didn't think I'd live long enough to be married. Oh, here comes Beatrice. There seems to be a sign of love about her.
She signs to him. I've been sent, against my will, to fetch you in to dinner.
I've been sent, against my will, to fetch you in for dinner.
Oh, well, thank you for taking the trouble.
I took no more trouble for those thanks than you took trouble to thank me. If it had been any trouble, I wouldn't have come.
Oh, so you take pleasure in this little enterprise?
Yes! About as much as you might put on the point of a knife to choke a jackdaw with. You have no stomach?
She slaps him on the stomach and leaves. Benedict is alone. He turns to the audience.
I've been sent, against my will, to fetch you in for dinner. There's double meaning in that. I took no more trouble for these thanks than you took trouble to thank me. In other words, any trouble I take for you is as easy as thanks. Oh. If I don't pity her, I'm a scoundrel. If I don't love her, I'm a swine. I'll get her picture.
He runs after her. Lights fade. Actors enter and remove one of the tables that form the fence. The other they position upstage. They place 2 chairs upside down on top of the table and tablecloths over the chairs. 2 more chairs on the ground near the table. Lights up. Enter Hero, Margaret and Ursula quickly.
So go now, Margaret. Hurry to the parlour. That's where you'll find my cousin Beatrice. She'll be talking with the Prince and Claudio. Tell her that we found these secret letters and that they speak most candidly of her, and that she's to creep into the wilderness. That's where she's to find them, hide and read. Now go and be perfect to your part. I'll have her here in no time. When Beatrice comes, we'll hide and watch her read our secret letters.
Hero hides the letters under a chair on top of the table.
From such wood Cupid's crafty arrow, often made, wounded by gossip only.
Hero and Ursula hide behind the table.
Now begin. But look where Beatrice, like a lapwing, runs hugging the ground, trying to find and read our secret letters.
Beatrice finds the letters.
The fun of fishing is to watch the fish, cut through the silver stream with golden oars, then greedily gulp down the treacherous bait. And so we fish for Beatrice.
Let's get closer to her. Let our eyes not lose a single fragment of our bait.
They move under the table and watch Beatrice, who sits and reads the letters. Under the table, Hero and Ursula read a copy of the letters from Hero's notebook.
No, really, Ursula. She's far too disdainful. But that's her nature. Independent, wild. She's like a young hawk on a cliff.
Madam, are you sure that Benedict is in love with Beatrice?
According to the Prince and Claudio, and they want me to break the news to her.
They practically entreated me to tell her, but I said no. If they love Benedict, they ought to let him struggle with his love and never breathe a word of it to Beatrice.
Why did you say so? Benedict is surely fit for Beatrice's bed. What is she? Cleopatra? Nefertiti?
There is no woman he's not worthy of. I doubt you'll meet a more man deserving. But nature has never made a woman's heart of prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride sparkling in her eyes, despising all they see. Her piercing mind values itself so much that all other stuff seems worthless. She can't love. Affection's wholly alien to her nature. She loves herself too much.
I fear you're right. It wouldn't be a good idea at all for her to know. She'd only mock his love.
Too true, too true. I've never met a man so wise, so noble, or so young and handsome that she won't spell him backwards. Is he handsome? Beatrice will say, he ought to be my sister. Tall, he's a pointless lance. Short, he's a diamond that's been badly cut. Speaks well, a vein that's blown by every wind. Silent, a block that can be blown by none. In this way, she'll turn each man inside out, slighting good qualities, despising truth, debunking merit and sincerity.
You're right. Her carping does her little credit.
To be as unconventional and strange as Beatrice is not to be desired. But who dares tell her? If I spoke to her, she'd only mock me into air. Oh, how she'd laugh and jeer till I was dizzy, shoot her wit till I lay lying. No, let Benedict, like covered flame, burn himself up in size and waste away. Better to die like that than with derision, which is death by tickling.
But tell her anyway, see what she says.
No, I shall go to Benedict instead and tell him that he must wrestle with his passions, and I'll devise some truthful calumnies to slur my cousin with. You never know how one well-aimed bad word might poison love.
You mustn't do your cousin so much wrong. She cannot be so lacking in good sense, as clever and perceptive as she is, or said to be, that she would turn up her nose at such a prize as Benedict.
He's the only man in the country, well, except for my dear Claudia, of course.
I hope you won't be angry with me, madam, if I should speak my mind, but Benedict, for figure, bearing, conversation, courage, is reckoned the best man in the country.
It's true. His reputation is excellent.
Yes, and it has been earned with excellence. Now, when are you to be married?
Oh, why, every day. Tomorrow, I have dresses I must show you. Tomorrow, I must look my very best. You must help me choose.
Beatrice looks through the letters. She places all but one on the chair beside her. She reads the letter again, looks around, and signs. My eyes and mind are... can this be true? Are scornful, proud to be my only praise? Contempt and virgin pride, I'm done with you. Scant glories ever garnered from such traits. She stands and throws away the letter. She continues to sign. But Benedict, love on. I will requite you. Your loving hand will tame my too wild heart. Love me, and my changed manners will incite you to bind us so close we shall never part. They say you're worthy of me. And I know.
I needed no one's talk to tell me so.
She leaves. Hero and Ursula emerge from under the table.
I promise you, madam, we have caught our fish.
Woohoo! If that's so, then chance is king in love's affairs. Some Cupid shoots, but others he ensnares.
They remove the table and the chairs on top. Lights fade. Enter Claudio, Don Pedro, Leonata and Benedict. Lights up. Claudio sits on the ground brushing his boots. Don Pedro sits on a chair holding a cigar. Leonata holds a clipboard and Benedict paces.
I'll stay till the wedding, then I must return home.
Let me escort you there, my lord.
No, that would take the gloss off your marriage. It'd be like showing a child his new coat and then preventing him from wearing it. No, I'll take Benedict. He'll make the perfect travelling companion. He's amusing from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. He's cut Cupid's bowstrings 2 or 3 times and a little hangman daren't shoot at him. His heart is as sound as a bell and his tongue is the clapper. His tongue speaks what his heart feels.
Lady, gentlemen, I am not as I have been.
Great. You seem sadder.
I hope he's in love.
Hang him, the wretch. There's not a drop of warm blood in his veins. He can't fall in love. If he's sad, it's because he's short of money.
I have a toothache.
Have it drawn.
I'd have it hanged.
Have it hanged and drawn.
Benedict drinks from a hick flask.
What, does a mere toothache make you sigh?
A simple imbalance of humours. Or a worm.
Everyone can get over a difficulty except the fellow that has it.
Well, I say he's in love.
Well, he gives no outward sign of being in love.
But all the signs are there. He brushes his hat every morning. What do you make of that?
Ooh, has anyone seen him at the barber's?
No, but the barber's assistant has been seen with him, and his beard has already gone to stuffed tennis balls.
Ah, of course. I thought he looked younger.
Oh, he rubs himself with scent. You can sniff him out by that.
He's in love, for sure.
One notes it mainly in his melancholy.
And he started washing his face.
And wearing makeup.
He used to crack jokes the whole time. Now he'd rather practice the guitar.
That's a sign for sure. Then he is in love.
I know who's in love with him.
Who? Whoever it is, she can't know him.
Or his numerous bad qualities. She's crazy about him.
Hey, she'll be buried face upward.
What do you mean with him buried in her arms?
You're not doing much to cure my toothache. Lady Leonard, so will you come with me? I've studied 8 or 9 wise words to say to you, which I'd rather these clowns didn't hear.
Benedict and Leonata leave.
He's gonna tell her that he's in love with Beatrice.
Yes, and by now, Hero and Margaret will have played their part with her. Now the 2 bears won't bite each other when they meet.
Enter Don John.
My lord and brother, I hope you're very well.
Good evening, brother.
Have you a moment? I'd like a word.
In private?
Preferably, although Count Claudio may as well hear since what I have to say concerns him.
What is it?
Do you intend to marry tomorrow?
You know he does.
No, I don't. Not when he knows what I know.
If you know of some impediment, tell me.
Look, I know you think I don't like you, but judge by what transpires. Perhaps you'll gain a true impression of my feelings from what I'm about to tell you. My brother is extremely fond of you, of course. It's out of affection for you that they've arranged this marriage between you and Hero.
Well, what is it? Is there some problem?
Let me come to the point. We spent too much time talking about her already. In a word then, the lady's disloyal.
Who? Hero?
Leonata's hero, your hero, everyone's hero.
Oh, disloyal!
The word's too mild to describe her wickedness. Think of a worse one and I'll make it stop.
Alright.
You're astonished.
Right.
If you want proof, I can get it. Go with me to Leonata's house tonight, and there you'll see a man climb up to Hero's bedroom window. Oh yes, the night before her wedding. If you still love her after that, marry her tomorrow. But it would suit your honour better to change your mind.
Can this be true?
I refuse to believe it.
Seeing is believing. Go with me. I'll show you all you need to see. And once you've seen and heard, proceed accordingly.
If I see anything tonight that convinces me that I shouldn't marry Hero, tomorrow, before the whole congregation, instead of taking her for my wife, I'll disgrace her.
And as I wooed her on your behalf, then I'll join you to disgrace her.
I'll disparage her no farther until you are my witnesses. Only wait until midnight and let the issue show itself.
What a bleak end to a happy day.
Jollity turned to sorrow and dismay.
You would have caught the plague. I rescued you. That much you must concede before we're through.
Claudio and Don Pedro leave. Don John follows them. Lights fade. An actor moves the 2 chairs to centre stage. Two trainee police officers sit on the chairs. Lights up. Dogberry enters, marching. Closely behind, Burgess, marching. They circle the 2 trainee police officers.
Are you good folk and true?
Yes, otherwise they'll deserve salvation.
That punishment would be too good for them if they show allegiance after being chosen as the king's watch.
Well, tell them their duties, Officer Godbury.
First of all, who do you think is the most unsuitable one to be constable?
Frankie Seacole, ma'am. She can read and write.
Come here, Seacole. God has blessed you with a good name. Good looks can be acquired, but to be able to read and write is something you're born with. You either have it, or you don't.
And I can
do both, I know. As for your looks, thank God for them, but don't boast about them. And as for your reading and writing, well, wait till they're least needed and then make good use of them. You are considered the most senseless and fit person to be constable. You must carry the lantern.
Burgess reaches into her pocket and produces a small lit torch which dangles. She gives it to Seacole.
You're to comprehend all vagrams.
Vagrams?
Vagrams. I'll order them to stop in the prince's name.
What if they won't stop?
Then take no note of them and let them go. After which you must summon the rest of the watch and give thanks to God for being rid of a villain.
If they don't stop when they're ordered to, then they're not true subjects of the prince.
Exactly. Which means we hold no jurisdiction over them. Our authority extends only to the prince's subjects. Also, you mustn't make any noise in the streets, for a watch to babble and chatter is utterly tolerable and not to be countenanced.
We won't talk. We know the duties of a watch. We'll most likely sleep.
Spoken like an experienced and quiet watch person. I don't see how sleeping can cause offence. But do make sure your pikes aren't stolen. And you are to call at all the taverns and tell the drunks to go home to bed.
What if they won't?
Then leave them be till they're sober. If they still refuse, you can assume they're not the folk you took them for.
Very good, ma'am.
Now, As regards thieves, if you come across one, you're entitled in your capacity as constables to suspect them of being a rascal. But the less time you spend around such folk, the better, if you wish to remain law-abiding citizens yourselves.
So, if we know the thief, we're not to touch them?
You may, since you're constables, but those who touch pitch will be defiled. The most peaceful course is to let them reveal themselves and then steal out of your company.
Ah, you're famous for your leniency, partner.
Yes, I wouldn't hang a dog if I could avoid it, let alone any human that had any honesty in them.
Ah, very true.
Well, those are your orders. You are to represent the prince himself. If you come across him during the night, you are to stop him and search him.
Excuse me?
Look in the statutes and you'll find it there. Only with his consent, mind. For the watch should not commit any offence, and it's an offence to stop anyone against their will.
Yes, by God!
Well, gentlefolk, good night. If anything serious happens, send for me. Keep your friends' secrets, and your own. Come, partner.
Dogberry and Verges leave. Seacole stands up and plays with the torch. Her partner opens a packet of biscuits and starts to eat one.
We've heard our duties. Let's just sit here till 2 and then home to bed.
Dogberry and Verges return.
One more thing, friends. I want you to keep an eye on Lady Leonata's house. There's to be a wedding there tomorrow, and the place is probably in chaos. Well, good night, and for God's sake, be vigilant.
They leave. Seacole shines the torch and goes for a wander. Her partner continues eating her biscuit. Enter Baraccio.
Conrad!
Seacole and her partner hide in the shadows. Baraccio staggers. He notices a jacket on a chair and moves towards it.
Conrad.
He sits on a chair and talks to the jacket. Seacole and her partner watch from the shadows.
Come here, man. Hey, elbow. I felt my elbow itch. I might have known a scab would follow. I owe you for that. Well, what's up? Come closer. Starting to rain. I'll sit here, take shelter, and I'll tell you everything like a true drunkard.
This is some treason. Let's stand aside and listen.
I just earned 100,000 from Don John. Is villainy so expensive? I mean, is villainy so rich? When rich villains have need of poor ones, the poor ones can name their price. Fantastic. What's that? Just a weather vane? All right, here's the thing. Tonight, I wooed Margaret, lady hero's maid by the name of Hero. She leant out her mistress's bedroom window, said goodnight 1,000 times. Well, I'm telling this all wrong. First thing I should say is how the prince, Claudia, and Don John, at Don John's instigation, witnessed this pleasant encounter from a distance in the orchard, and they thought Margaret was Hero.
Two of them did. The Prince and Claudia. Oh, the devil Don John knew she was Margaret, partly because he swore it was dark and clear, but mostly thanks to my villainy, which seemed to confirm what Don John had already told them. Away went Claudio in a rage, swearing he would meet her in the church tomorrow morning as agreed, and disgrace her in front of the whole congregation, confronting with what he had seen during the night and sending her home without a husband.
Seacole and her partner run towards him.
Name of the law.
Let's fetch Constable Dogberry. We have just discovered the most dangerous piece of lechery ever seen in this town.
Seacole shines her torch at him. Her partner holds biscuits at him.
Good evening, gentle.
Don't speak. We obey you to go with us.
Oh. Am I to prove a goodly commodity being taken up of these bills? A goodly commodity in question, I warrant you.
Braccio holds out his wrists, expecting to be handcuffed. Seacole and her partner are frozen. Braccio puts his hands behind his back.
Lead on.
They grab him and leave. Lights fade. House lights up. Interval. Fade to black. Fade up. House lights fade. In the middle of the stage is a trestle table with 2 chairs at it. On the table is a jam jar with flowers inside. Enter Ursula and Margaret holding a wedding dress. Enter Hero. Margaret and Ursula hold the wedding dress together and look at it. Lights up. Hero holds her notebook and a quill.
Ursula, go and get my cousin and tell her to come in, please.
Yes, my lady.
The high collar suits you better.
No, Meg, I'm wearing this.
I promise you, that doesn't go so well. I'm sure your cousin will agree with me.
My cousin's a fool and so are you. I'm wearing this.
Well, the new veil and hairpiece are excellent. Though the hairpiece could be a shade browner. And this dress is the height of fashion. I saw the Duchess of Milan's gown that everyone's raving about.
Oh yes, they say it's miraculous.
Compared to yours, it's a nightgown. Cloth of gold, bents, silver lace, inlaid pearls, long sleeves, side sleeves, flounces, and a trimming of bluish tinsel around the skirt. But yours is worth 10 of it. It's ingenious, stylish, original, excellent.
Well, I hope I enjoy wearing it. My heart is very heavy.
It'll be heavier soon, by the weight of a man.
Oh, Margaret, really?
All right then, by the weight of a husband. There's no harm in that. Marriage is an honourable state, as long as it's the right husband and the right wife. If you don't believe me, ask Lady Beatrice.
Oh, good morning, cousin.
Good morning, Hero.
Beatrice, why singing this sick tune?
I have no other tune. I'm out of tune. Oh God, I feel awful.
Why? Is it a hawker, horse, or a husband?
It's the letter that starts more. H. Or rather, A. As in hearty.
I don't believe it. You're not the same person.
Oh, what are you babbling on about?
Nothing. May God send everyone their heart's desires.
Oh, Claudio sent me these gloves. They're perfumed.
Oh, I have a cold. My nose is stuffed.
A virgin. Stuffed. That's some cold.
Oh, God. Since when were you a witch?
Since you lost your wits.
You don't show it off enough. You should wear it in your hat. Oh, God.
I know what you need. Cardus benedictus. It's a new cold remedy, a poultice. You put it on your heart. It's made from thistles.
Thistles that would prick.
Huh?
Benedictus. Why Benedictus? What do you mean by Benedictus?
Benedictus. It's a kind of thistle. Oh, I see. You thought I meant you were in love. No, by God, I'm not such a fool to think what I list. No, I list not to think what I can. No, indeed, I cannot think. If I were to think my heart out of thinking, I know better than to think that you could be in love. Or that you will be in love. Or that you can be in love. Mind you, Benedict was like that too, and now look at him. He swore he would never marry, and now, yet, despite his heart, he eats his meat without grudging. And how you could be converted, I know not. But I think you look with your eyes as other women do.
Your tongue goes too fast.
But on the right track.
Hi, madam. The Prince, the Count, Benedict, Don John, and all the young stags of the town have come to escort you to the church.
Cousin, Ursula, Meg, come, help me dress.
Lights fade. Actors remove the table and chairs. Lights up. Enter Dogberry, marching. The fly of her trousers is open and her shirt is sticking through. She continues marching, waiting. Enter Verges. Dogberry signals for her to knock at the door. Enter Leonata, assisted by Margaret.
What is your business with me, honest citizen?
Madam, I have some reformation that very much discerns you.
Well, make it quick. I have a lot on my plate this morning.
All right. This is it.
Yes, this is it. Well,
my friend Verges has trouble getting to the point, madam. I'm afraid her mind isn't as blunt as it once was. But she's good. As good as the skin between her eyebrows.
I thank God that I'm no honester than anyone alive and no honester than I am.
Comparisons are odious. Few words, neighbour Verges.
friends, you are tedious.
It's kind of your worship to say so. We are humble officers. For my part, your worship, if I were as tedious as a king, I could find it in my heart to bestow all my tediousness on you.
All your tediousness on me. Get to the point.
Well, madam, tonight, saving your reverence, we have found a wicked scoundrel as any in the city.
She's a harmless woman, madam. She has to talk, she can't help it. As the saying goes, when she thinks she must speak. God help us, what a world it is. Well said, friend Verges, well said. Well, God is good. And not all folk are alike. If two folk ride a horse, one must ride behind. But she's an honest soul, madam, believe me. As honest as ever broke bread and horse-whipped God.
Horsewhipped? Oh, worshipped.
Everyone can't have a good shit.
Wait! He certainly isn't on your intellectual level.
Enter Ursula.
God bestows his gifts where he chooses.
I must leave you.
One word, madam. Our watch has indeed comprehended an auspicious person. We would like your worship to examine him.
Examine him yourself and bring me your report. I am in rather a hurry.
That would be proficient.
Have a glass of wine before you go. Goodbye.
Come. Find Frances C. Cole. Tell her to bring her pen and inkwell to the jail. We must examination this man.
Oh yes, we must do it wisely.
Never fear. We shall abuse all our skill and reduce him to a gulp. Francis shall discord our excommunication. Only get the learned writer to set down our excommunication. Meet me at the jail.
Lights fade. Enter Benedict with Leonata's wheelchair. Enter Claudio. Benedict assembles a semicircle of chairs. Lights up. Enter Don John and Don Pedro, who is now wearing a red beret. Don Pedro gives Claudio a white flower to wear. Enter Beatrice, Ursula and Margaret. Don Pedro pats Claudio on the back. Enter Francis, the vicar. Francis and Claudio shake hands. Benedict pats Claudio on the shoulders and hugs him. All the wedding guests are seated, each wearing a flower. Enter Hero holding flowers with Leonata, who uses a crutch.
Be brief, Francis. The simplest possible ceremony. You can go through their duties with them later.
Leonata sits in her wheelchair.
Have you come here to marry this woman?
No.
To be married to her. You've come to marry them.
Have you come here to be married to this man?
I have.
If either of you knows of any impediment that may prevent this marriage, speak now.
Do you know of any hero?
No, my lord.
Count, do you know of any?
I dare answer for him. No.
Oh, what we dare do. What we may do. What we do every day, not knowing what we do.
What's this, a scene?
Vicar, stand aside, please. Lady Leonata, tell me this. Will you, with a free and untroubled conscience, give me your pure, chaste daughter?
Yes, son. As freely as God gave her to me.
And what have I to give you in return whose worth is equal to that of such a precious gift?
Nothing. Unless you give her back again.
Your Grace, you teach me noble gratitude. There, Leonata. Take her back again. Don't give this rotten orange to your friend. She is nothing but a counterfeit of honour. Look at her blush like innocence itself. Oh, with what convincing marks of truth sin can disguise itself. It is so cunning. Don't her flushed cheeks appear to be the proof of modest virtue? Wouldn't you all swear to see her standing there that she was a virgin, judging by her appearance? But she's not. She has tasted all of the harlot's sweetest pleasures. Her blush is one of shame, not chastity.
What do you mean, my lord?
Not to be married. Not to bind my soul to an undoubted whore.
Oh, my dear lord. If you're referring to yourself, that is, if you've overcome a girl's resistance and filch the prize of her virginity.
Oh, you mean to say that if I had slept with her since she was presently to be my wife, there was no wrong in it? No, Leonata. I never spoke one lecherous word to her, but as a brother to a sister showed modest humility and tender love.
Did I seem any different to you, my lord?
Seem? Damn you! I could write a book on that, on seeming, the chaste goddess of the moon. That's how you seemed to me, a virgin bud that was yet to open. But you are no such thing. Your blood is as hot as Venus's, or beasts that rage in wild sensuality.
What? Are you mad to speak like this, my lord?
Your Grace, why don't you speak?
Why should I speak? Since I'm now dishonoured after linking my dear friend to a common slut.
Don't just say that. Oh, it's a dream.
You said it, madam. Furthermore, it's true.
This is a curious wedding.
True? Oh, God!
Lady Leonata, am I standing here? Is this Don Pedro? Is this his brother? Is this face heroes? Are our eyes our eyes?
All this is so, but what's your drift?
I have one question for your daughter here. And if you have the least maternal power, command her to produce an honest answer.
You hear that, child? Do as his lordship asks.
Oh, God, defend me! And how am I beset? Am I a child to be so catechized?
Then answer truly in your own name.
Isn't it Hero? Who else blocked that name with any just reproach?
Who else but you? Hero itself blots out Hero's virtue. Tell me, who was it who spoke with you last night at your window between 12 and 1? As you are a virgin, answer truthfully.
No one spoke with me at that hour, my lord.
In that case, you're no virgin.
What?
I'm sorry, Leonata, you must hear, but I and my brother and this hobbled count saw her and heard her last night at that hour speak with a ruffian at her bedroom window, and he, since then, has confessed they met for the same loathsome purpose 1,000 times in secret.
My lord, for God's sake, they must not be named. Names, there's not enough purity in language to speak without offence. Well, pretty lady, I saw you weren't raised more carefully.
Oh, hero. What a hero you would have been if half your outward charms had been reserved to keep your thinking and behaviour chaste. But farewell, you foulest, fairest girl, farewell. Wicked purity, pure wickedness, for you I will lock up all the gates of love, and always on my eyelids doubt will hang, and turn all beauty into thoughts of harm, so that it never turns my head again.
Hero falls to the ground. Beatrice helps her.
She's fainted. We'd better leave. This shameful business being brought to light chokes the life out of her.
Margaret runs away. Ursula follows her. Claudio, Don Pedro and Don John leave.
How is the lady?
I think she's dead. Heaven seek help, Auntie. Francis.
Fates, do not take away your heavy hand. No, death is the best cover for her shame that we could hope for.
Have comfort. Why should she not?
Why not? Why not?
Leonata stands.
When everything they allege points to her shame.
She approaches Hero.
Do not open your eyes, Hero, you shan't live. If I thought you weren't about to die, but that you could live with the strength and shame, with my own hands, I'd back their allegations and stab you here and now. To think I grieved at just one child, carved to nature's meanness. Why had I one? I knew I had one too many. Why did I not rather, in charity, adopt some beggar's brat? Then, had it been befouled by this shame, I could have said, I have no part in it. This infamy descends from an unknown womb. But you were mine, and mine I loved and praised. Was proud of you as mine, and prized you more as mine than I've ever prized myself. No, you've fallen into a pit of ink, and the white sea hasn't the water to wash you clean. The salt to antisepticize is foul, intelligent.
Be calm. As for myself, I stand here clothed in wonder and don't know what to say.
I do. I know my cousin has been slandered.
Did you and Hero share a bed last night?
No. No, we didn't. But until last night, we shared one every night for the last year.
It's certain then. We had cast iron proof already. This just strengthens it. Would the two princes lie? Would Claudio lie? He loved her, and while speaking of her filth, washed it away with tears. Let us leave her, let her die.
May I speak first? I've only made no comment up to now and let things take their distressing course while I observe the lady. I have noted 1,000 blushes. Marks of innocent shame rush up into her face. Then angel pureness has suddenly dried each new blush away. While in her eyes I saw a flashing fire burn up the error that these lords have made in slurring her pure soul. Call me a fool. Don't trust my observation or my judgment, though I've experienced enough and more to lend this judgment weight. Don't trust my calling, my age, reverence or sanctity. If this sweet lady is not innocent, then some grave mistake's been made.
Not so. Not so. You see, the only goodness she has left is she will not add to her damnation the sin of perjury. She won't deny it. Why should you try to cover with excuses what plainly shows in all its nakedness?
Lady, who is this man you stand accused of?
Those who accuse me know. I know of none. If I know more than anyone alive or that my spotless and chaste life can give vouch for, then may I be damned to hell. Oh, dear mother, please prove that I spoke with anyone at an improper hour last night, or that last night I had 2 words with anyone at all, then disown me, hate me, torture me to death.
These lords are labouring under some delusion.
Well, 2 of them are honourable men. If they've been deluded in this business, I lay you 10 to 1, it's Don John's work. That man is enmeshed in cased wickedness.
All I know is, if what they say is true, I'll tear her heart out. If they've wronged her honour, the proudest of them all shall hear from me. Time hasn't yet dried up all my blood, or age made so much a plaything of my wits, or fortune makes it habit with my means, nor have I lived so badly and lacked friends that they won't find an outrage of this sort imbues me with new strength, sharpens my mind, and I've wealth and friends enough and more to make them pay a heavy price.
Be patient, and for a while, comply with my advice. The princes left your daughter here for dead. For a while, keep her hidden in your house, and tell the world she indeed is dead. Whilst you maintain a public show of mourning, above the entrance to the family vaults hang mournful epitaphs, and hold a funeral with all the ceremony due to her.
For what purpose? What would that achieve?
If we can carry it off, this will convert slander into remorse, and that's some good, though not the reason why I've hatched this plot. Some greater birth may follow this labour. By dying, for we must maintain she is dead, in the same instant she was accused, she will be mourned, pitied, and excused by everyone who hears. For such is life. We never rightly value what we have while we possess it. But the day it's lost, we prize it, oh, so highly. We discover the value that we took for granted while we still had it. As will Claudio, when he's informed that his own words have killed her. The image of her will sweetly creep into his mind and form a vivid picture, where every lovely aspect of her life will appear clothed in French, nay, royal attire, more touching in its grace, more full of life, as it impacts his innermost perception than if she were alive. Then he will mourn, if he is an organ capable of love, and rue the day he cruelly accused her, although he thinks his accusations true. Let this be done, and look for a result happier, if anything, and more auspicious than I can paint for you in mere conjecture. Should our project fail in that, at least the wide belief in Hero's death will blunt the edge of scandal and reproach. And if the outcome isn't what we'd hoped, then hide her, as befits her tarnished name in some reclusive religious life, where no one's eyes or tongue or mind can wrong her.
Lady Leonata, let Francis advise you, and though I am bound by sterling friendship and deep affection to the Prince and Claudio, I will act in this as secretly and justly as my soul would to my body.
I'm lost in grief. The thinnest thread can lead me.
How wisely you submit. Let's go at once. The strangest souls are treated in the weirdest ways. Come, lady. Die to live. No more dismay. Good luck. We've just postponed your wedding day.
Exit Leonata, assisted by Francis, followed by Hero. Beatrice sits on the ground, arms on her knees, head down. Benedict sits on a chair by her and touches her arm. He signs to her. Have you wept all this while? She signs, yes, and I shall weep a while longer. He signs, I can't wish for that. She signs, I do it freely.
I do believe your pretty cousin has been wronged.
If I had a friend to right that wrong, they could ask anything of me.
Is there any way to show such friendship?
She signs, yes, a very direct way, but no such friend.
Well, can a man do it?
She signs, it's a task for a man, but not for you.
I love you more than anything in this world. Isn't that strange?
As strange as a thing, I don't know. It would be as possible for me to say that I love you more than anything in this world, but don't believe me. No, I'm not lying. I confess nothing. I deny nothing. I'm sorry for my cousin.
You love me.
Mind you don't swear and then eat your words.
I'll swear you love me, and I'll make anyone eat it who says I don't love you.
You won't eat your words?
Not with any sauce that can be concocted. I solemnly declare, I love you.
Well, may God forgive me.
What sin?
You stopped me in the nick of time. I was about to declare that I loved you.
Then do it with all your heart.
I love you with so much of my heart there's none left to declare it with.
He signs, command me to do anything for you. She signs, anything?
Anything.
Kill Claudio.
Not for the wide world.
You kill me by refusing.
Beatrice,
No,
wait.
I'm no love in you.
Beatrice,
I will go.
please, not till we're friends.
You dare to be my friend, but not to fight my enemy.
Is Claudio your enemy?
Hasn't he proven himself a villain in the highest degree? Hasn't he slandered, spurned, disgraced my kinswoman? Oh, if I were a man, what? Keep her in hand till they come to join hands, and then with public accusation, naked slander, unmitigated malice. If I were a man, I would eat his heart in the marketplace.
Beatrice,
Talk with a man at her window.
Beatrice!
A fine thing to say. Poor hero, she's wronged, slandered, ruined. Princes and counts, a princely report. Oh, yes indeed, a fine count. Count Sugarplum! A cute young gentleman for sure. Oh, I wish I were a man for his sake, or that I had a friend who would be a man for my sake. But manhood is melted into courtesies, courage into compliment. Men are now mere tongues, and glib ones at that. A man is now as brave as Hercules. If he but tells a lie and swears it's true. A man by wishing. Very well, I shall die a woman of grief.
He signs, Beatrice, by this hand I love you. She signs, if you love me, use your hand some other way than swearing by it. She takes his dagger out of its scabbard and puts it in his hand.
Do you believe in your soul that hero was wronged by Claudio?
She signs, yes, as surely as I have a thought or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I will challenge Claudio. Give me your hand. By this hand, Claudio will pay a heavy reckoning. Think of me. And go and comfort your cousin. She will tell you the plan. I must say she is dead. Goodbye.
Benedict leaves. Lights fade. Beatrice leaves. Actors remove the chairs. An actor places a chair upside down on another chair to form a witness stand. Lights up. The sexton stands in front of a music stand with a purple folder on it. Dogberry stands by him.
Is our whole dissembly present?
Enter Verges.
A stool and a cushion for the sexton.
The sexton throws the cushion at Verges, picks up the chair, puts it behind the music stand and sits on it. He's too low down, so he stands. Borachio and the watch are standing by the witness stand.
Which is the malefactor?
I am one, and my partner here is another.
Indeed, we have an exhibition to interrogate.
No. Which is the offender who is to be interrogated? He must come before the constable.
Quite right. Let him come before me.
Yeah.
The watch escort Borachio into the witness stand.
What is your name,
friend.
Vernacular.
Write down Vernacular. Well, sir, do you serve God?
I should think so.
Write down he thinks he serves God. Only write God first. God forbid God shouldn't come before such a villain. Gentlemen, it has already been proved beyond doubt that you're a dishonest rogue, and it won't be long until we're convinced of it. What have you got to say for yourself?
I say I'm no such thing.
Very witty, I'm sure. I'll trap him soon enough. Come here, sir. I tell you, it is generally believed that you are a rogue and a villain.
And I tell you, I'm no such thing.
Stand aside, my God! Have you written down that he is not a villain?
Constable, this is not the way to conduct an interrogation. You must call the watch. It was they who made this charge.
You're right! Call the watch!
The watch squeeze into the witness stand with Vernacular.
Gentlefolk of the watch, I charge you, in the prince's name, excuse this man.
This man said that Don John, the prince's brother, was a villain.
Well, villain? Burglary. Prince John a villain? Why, this is flat perjury to call the prince's brother a villain.
Constable!
Hold your tongue, man. I tell you straight. I don't like the look of you.
What else did you hear him say?
He said he'd had £100,000 from Don John for falsely accusing the lady hero.
Burglary! As serious as was ever committed. Indeed!
What else, fellow?
And that because of what he'd said about her, Count Claudio was going to disgrace Hero in front of the whole congregation and not marry her.
Villain! You will be condemned to everlasting redemption for this.
What else?
That's all.
And, gentlemen, this is more than you can deny, for this morning Don John secretly left the city and Hero was accused in just this way, and the distress caused by that killed her. Constable, put this man in irons and take him to Leonata's house. I will go ahead and give her my report.
The sexton leaves.
Opinion him! Yes! Tie his hands!
Don't touch me, you idiot!
My God! I wish the sexton were here. He could write down that the prince's officer's an idiot! Tie his hands! You naughty rogue, you!
Get away from me! You're an ass! An ass!
What? Have you no regard for my rank? For my age? Oh, I wish the sexton were here. He could write down that I am an ass! But, written down or not, don't you forget that I'm an ass! As for you, you villain, you are as pious as any man in this town, as will be proved in a court with witnesses. I am wise. I'm a constable. I'm the head of a household to boot, and as pretty a piece of flesh as anyone in this city. And I know the law too. Damn you! And I'm rich! I'll have you know I've made some substantial financial losses in my time. I have 2 gowns and everything handsome about me. Come, bring him. An ass! An ass! Oh, if only he'd written it down!
Dogberry marches away. Everyone follows. Lights fade. Actors remove the chairs and music stand. Enter Leonata, assisted by Antonio. Lights up.
Oh, bear up, dear sister, you'll kill yourself. Your grief is great enough. Don't make it worse and fret yourself to death.
Enough advice. Now hold your tongue. I will be flesh and blood. I never yet knew a philosopher who could endure a toothache patiently, and yet they write with such divine authority as though they were immune to any mishap, scorning those of us who suffer in our minds.
Yes, but don't take all the pain on your own head. Make those who made you suffer, suffer too.
Ah, now you're talking sense. That's what I'll do. My instinct tells me Hero is maligned, and Claudio and the Duke shall know my mind, as will all those who dare to slander her.
Ah, well, here come the Prince and Claudio, in a hurry.
Good day to you.
Good morning to you both.
My lord.
Leonardo was quite pressed for time.
Oh, pressed for time. Well, goodbye then. So brisk are we now? Well, I don't give a fig.
Old friend, are you disposed to pick a quarrel?
She could right her wrongs by quarrelling. Some of us would lie low.
Ha! Who's done her wrong?
Who else but you, you two-faced jumped-up brat? Huh? What's that? Reaching for your blade? I don't fear you.
Oh, curses upon my hand if it should terrorise a weak old woman. My hand went nowhere near my blade.
What's that you say? Don't jeer and mock at me. I tell you, Claudio, and to your face, you have injured my innocent child and me, and I must now put reverence aside, forget my grey hairs and my waning years. I challenge you. You told a heinous lie, I tell you. You wronged my innocent child. Your calumny has pierced her through the heart, and she lies with her ancestors buried in a tomb where scandal never lay. But this, the product of your villainy.
Oh, my villainy, you say?
Yes, Claudio, yours.
Old woman, you're much mistaken.
Am I so? I will prove it on his body if he dare. Even though he fights every day and practices, even though he's in the prime and bloom of youth.
Oh, be off with you. I'll not fight with you.
You fob me off, eh? You've killed a child. If you kill me, boy, you kill a woman.
No, let him answer me. Follow me, boy. I'll whip you, boy, for all your fancy fencing. Yes, as I'm a gentleman, I shall.
Brother!
No, I know them through and through, to the last ounce. Mere brawling, swaggering, vain-glorious boys. Dandies that lie and cheat, malign and slander, then run a dozen...
Please.
Lady, gentlemen, I'm sorry for your loss, Leonata, but upon my soul, she was accused of nothing that wasn't true and been plainly proved.
My lord!
Enough, I said!
Brother, let us go. But I will be heard.
You shall, or some of us will swing for it.
Antonio and Leonata leave. Enter Benedict.
Ah, here comes the very man we came to find.
Oh, what news, sir?
Good day to you, my lord.
And to you. If you'd have come a few moments earlier, you might have had to break up a fight.
We nearly had our noses bitten off by two old crocs without teeth.
Yeah, Leonata and her brother. What do you reckon? I think we'd have been too young for them.
In a false quarrel, there's no merit on either side, but I came for you.
Oh, well, we've been searching high and low for you. We're in very low spirits, and we need you to joke them away. Come on, sharpen your wit.
It's in my scabbard, shall I draw it?
What, you wear your wit by your side?
Oh, no one has ever done that, but many a person has been beside their wits. But come on, draw it, as musicians draw their bows to entertain us.
As I am an honest man, he looks pale. Are you sick or angry?
Bear up, man. Care may kill a cat, but you have enough metal in you to kill care.
A word in your ear.
Huh? God preserve me from a challenge.
You are a villain. I am in earnest, and I will make it good. How you dare, when you dare, with what you dare. Give me satisfaction, or I shall proclaim you a coward. You have killed an innocent lady, and her death shall cost you dearly. Let me hear from you.
Well, I will meet you as I hope to live or die.
Goodbye, boy. You know my mind. I'll leave you to your prattling humour. You break jests as braggarts do blades, which, thank God, don't hurt. Your Grace, thank you for all of your kindness to me, but I must quit your company. Your brother, the bastard, has fled, and between you, you have killed a sweet, innocent lady. As for Lord Blackbeard over there, he and I will meet. Till then, bid him good day.
He leaves.
He's in earnest.
Deadly earnest. I give you odds he's doing this for Beatrice.
He challenged you.
And he meant it.
But wait, something he said alarmed me. Did he say my brother had fled?
Enter Dogberry Verges, the Watch and Vernacular.
Come, sir! Ah, my lordships. You may wonder why I brought this man before you. Suffice to say, I have my reasons and have weighed them carefully in the scales.
What's this? My brother's follower, arrested.
He's a naughty man, my lord, but I will frame him.
Let's hear what he's done.
Good question. Firstly, he has borne a false witness. Thirdly, he has told untruths. Secondly, he is a slanderer. Sixth and lastly, he has maligned a lady. Fourthly, he has invented spurious reports. And to conclude, he is a lying villain.
Firstly, what has he done? Thirdly, what is his offence? Sixth and lastly, what crime has he committed? And to conclude, what do you accuse him of?
Well said, and using her own arithmetic. I didn't know you could say the same thing in so many ways.
Gentlemen, what have you done? These learned constables are far too ingenious to be understood. What is your offence?
Your Grace, when you've heard what I have to say, the Count here can kill me. I pulled the word with both your eyes. What your intelligence couldn't discover, these imbeciles are brought to light. Last night they heard me tell how your brother, Don John, incited me to discredit the lady hero. How you were brought to the orchard and saw me make love to Margaret, who was wearing hero's clothes. How you disgraced her publicly when you should have married her. They wrote down a full account of my villainy, and brother said to seal it with my death, and repeated again to shame myself any further. The lady is dead, thanks to mine and Don John's false accusation. In a word, I asked for nothing but the reward of a villain.
This story must cut through you like a knife.
I drank pure poison while he uttered it.
Did you say my brother was behind all this?
Yes, and he paid me well for my night's work.
The man is made of downright wickedness, and now he flees before his crime is known.
Hero, now I see you as you truly were in that form in which you won my heart.
Come, bring the plaintiff. By this time, the Lady Sexton would have reformed Lady Leonata of what has recurred. And, gentlemen, don't forget to make it clear when the opportunity arises that I am an ass!
Enter Leonata, assisted by Antonio.
Oh, here's Lady Leonata. Where is the villain? Let me see his eyes. Then when I see another like him, I can avoid him. Which one is he then?
You want to know who wronged you? Here he is.
Are you the villain who murdered my innocent child, killed her with his breath?
Yes, me alone.
Alone? Oh, no, sir. You slander yourself. Here lie a pair of honourable men who had a hand in it. A third has fled. I thank you, princes, for my daughter's death. Record it with your noblest deeds. It was a fine thing when one thinks of it.
I have no words to beg you for forgiveness. And yet I must speak. Choose your revenge yourself. Whatever penance you think suits my sin, impose on me. And yet I did not sin, save in mistaken.
By my soul, nor I, but to satisfy this good old woman, I would bend under any heavy weight she ordered me to bear.
Do this then. Bring my hero back to life. Oh, that cannot be. Instead, I would ask you to tell the people in this city here, hero died innocent. And then if your love can fashion anything in the way of verse, hang an epitaph on hero's tomb and sing it to her bones. Sing it tonight. Tomorrow morning, come and call on me. And since you couldn't be my son-in-law, be still my nephew. My brother has a daughter, almost a copy of my child who's dead. Do right by her, as you wronged her cousin, and so dies my revenge.
Lady Leonata, your overkindness wrings the tears from me. I must embrace your offer, and from now on do as you please with Claudio.
Till tomorrow morning then. But until then, goodbye. This scoundrel shall be brought face to face with Margaret, who I believe was party to his plot and in your brother's pay.
No, by my life, Margaret knew nothing when she spoke with me. She's always been good and loyal to you, at least in all the dealings I've seen.
One thing more, madam. That ought to be recorded in black and white. The plaintiff here called me an ass. I would like that to be taken into account in his punishment.
Thank you for your truth and honest pains.
Your worship speaks most grateful and honest, and I thank God for you.
This is for your pains.
God save the foundation.
I relieve you of your prisoner and thank you.
Your worship, I leave you with a downright villain and beg you to punish him yourself as an example to others. God keep you, your worship. I wish you well, your worship. May God restore you to health. I humble give you leave to depart, and if there are any festivities planned anywhere in this city, may God prohibit them. Come, partner.
Till tomorrow morning then. Good night.
We shall expect you then. Goodbye, my lords.
We shall be there.
Tonight I'll mourn with Hero.
This scoundrel, bring him in. Let's find out from Margaret how she came to know this wretch.
They all leave. Lights fade. Actors enter and place 2 trestle tables on their long sides to create the fence again. They place a chair centre stage. Enter Benedict alone with a guitar. He sits on the chair, lights up. Enter Margaret. She spots Benedict and tries to hurry on unnoticed.
Margaret!
She stops.
I need your help. Come. I need to speak to Beatrice. Can you arrange it? There'll be purse in it for you.
If I do, will you write a sonnet in praise of my beauty?
I will, and in so high a style, no one will be able to leap over it. There's no more than you deserve.
To have no man come over me, why must I always keep below stairs?
Your wit is as fast as a greyhound's mouth, it catches.
And yours as blunt as the fence's falls which hit.
But don't hurt.
A most manly wit, Margaret, and one that will never hurt a woman, so I pray you, call Beatrice.
I'll fetch her.
And she will come.
Margaret leaves. Benedict picks up the guitar and sits on the chair.
The God of love that sits above and knows me. An undeserving wretch. I mean, in singing. In loving. Leander, the great swimmer. Troilus, the first man to employ a pimp. And a whole book full of bedroom buccaneers whose names have been immortalised in reams of blank verse were never turned so head over heels in love as my poor self. The problem is, I can't express it in poetry. I've tried, but the only rhyme I can find for lady is baby. A weak rhyme. For scorn, horn. A hard rhyme. And for school, fool. A stupid rhyme. No. Ominous endings, all of them. I was not born under a rhyming star. I cannot woo in festival terms.
Enter Beatrice.
Beatrice, you will come when I call for you?
Yes. And go when you tell me.
Ah, then stay till then.
Oh, then it's spoken. Goodbye. Oh. But first, tell me what passed between you and Claudio.
Foul words only. Now, kiss me.
Foul words means foul wind, and foul wind means bad breath, and bad breath is disgusting. Therefore, I shall go on.
You have such a sharp wit. You can twist any word out of its meaning. But I will tell you plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge, and I must hear from him shortly, or I will proclaim him a coward. Now, tell me, for which of my bad qualities did you first fall in love with me?
For all of them combined, they maintain such a harmonious state of awfulness. They won't allow a single good trait to mingle with them. But tell me, for which of my good qualities did you first suffer love for me?
Suffer love. That's a good phrase, and it suits me perfectly since I love you against my will.
And in spite of your heart, I think. Poor heart. Since you're hurting it for my sake, I'll hurt it for yours, since I couldn't possibly love that which the man I love hates.
You and I are too intelligent to woo peacefully. But tell me, how is your cousin?
Very ill.
And how are you?
Very ill too.
Serve God, love me, and mend. Oh, here comes Ursula in haste.
But you must come in. There's total chaos in the house. It's been proved that my lady hero was falsely accused. The prince and Claudio wickedly deceived, and that Don John was behind it all. Will you come now?
Will you come?
I will live in your hearts, die in your lap, and be buried in your eyes. And moreover, I will come with you to your auntie's house.
Lights fade. Actors enter and clear the stage. flowers and candles. Each places a candle and flowers on the ground to form the shape of Hero's grave. They move back and look down at the grave. They leave. Claudio emerges from the shadows alone. He holds a picture frame and a candle. He kneels at the foot of the grave and lights the candle. He places the candle at the foot of the grave.
Ah.
He places his hand on the grave. Enter Don Pedro. He nods at Claudio. Claudio reads from the picture frame.
Done to death by slanderous tongues is the hero that here lies. Death to right her grievous wrongs gives her fame that never dies. So the life that died of shame lives in death with glorious fame. Lie there at true hero's foot, praising her when I am mute. As I bid your bones good night, yearly shall I do this right.
Don Pedro places his hand on Claudio's shoulder and kneels by him.
Good morning, friend. The wolves have prayed. The gentle day, before the wheels of Phoebus round about dapples the drowsy east with spots of grey.
Thanks.
Let's go. Put on other clothes. Yeah, make our way to Leonata's house.
And may the goddess of marriage bring an outcome happier than that for which we have grieved tonight.
They leave together. Lights fade. Enter Hero, who picks up the flowers from the grave. She picks up the picture frame, reads it, and shakes her head. Enter Ursula and Margaret with more flowers, which she hands to Hero. Hero leaves. Margaret and Ursula move the candles from the grave to the trestle tables at the back of the stage. More people enter and move chairs from the back of the stage to the centre. Lights up on Leonata, Hero, Antonio, Beatrice, Benedict, Ursula Margaret and Francis.
Didn't I tell you she was innocent?
As were Claudio and the prince who accused her, both victims of the trick you've heard described. Margaret, not without blame, but she meant no harm, as we have discovered during the course of our investigation.
I'm so glad everything's turned out so well.
As am I, because if it hadn't, honour would have demanded my dispatching of Claudio.
A daughter, ladies, leave us for a spell. When I asked you to come back again, come back masked.
They leave.
Prince and Claudio promised to be here at this time. Brother, you must play your part. You must be father to your sister's daughter and give her to Claudio.
That I shall do, and with a stony face.
Vicar, I may be in need of your help.
To do what, sir?
To bind me or undo me, one or t'other. Lady Leonardo. It is a known fact that your niece here sees me with a kindly eye.
An eye lent to her by my daughter, yes, that's true.
And I view her with a most loving one.
A vision lent to you by me, Claudio, and the prince. But what's your wish?
Your answer is somewhat of a puzzle, but as for my wish is your good wishes to be joined with ours to be, conjoined today in an honourable state of marriage, for which, good vicar, I need your help.
Take her, she's yours.
And I offer you all my help. Now, here's the Prince and Claudio.
Good morning to this splendid gathering.
Good morning, Prince. Good morning, Claudio. You kept your time. Well, are you still resolved to marry my brother's daughter?
Though uglier than a toad, I would marry her.
Go fetch her, brother. Francis is here.
Good morning, Benedict. Why, what's the matter? Where did you get that February face so full of frost and cloud and storminess?
Well, perhaps he's still thinking about that cock of the north. Have a picture painted of me with my head as a cock, and below it in big letters write Benedict, the married man. Well, don't worry, man. We'll paint your cocky head with care, and all of Europe will delight in it, just as Europa did with lusty Jove when he once played a bull in love.
Bull Jove, sir, had an amiable low, and some such strange bull jumped your father's cow and sired a calf in the same noble feat, just like you, as you have just his bleat.
Oh, I'll owe you for this one.
Enter Hero, Margaret and Ursula wearing veils, and Antonio and Beatrice.
Oh. Which is the lady I am to seize on?
This is the one. I present her freely to you.
And she is mine. Sweet. Let me see your face.
No, that you shan't. Not till you take her hand before Francis and swear to marry her.
Oh, give me your hand. I am your husband, if you will have me.
And when I lived, I was your other wife. And when you loved, you were my other husband.
She removes her veil.
Another hero!
Nothing certainer. That hero died disgraced. This hero lives. And surely as I live, I am chaste and pure.
The former hero, yes, the one that died.
She only died, Prince, whilst her slander lived.
I can shed light on these strange events after the ceremonies have concluded. I can tell you all about Hero's death. Meanwhile, you'll have to live with your amazement. It's high time we were heading for the chapel.
1 minute. Beatrice.
What do you want?
You love me, don't you?
Me? No more than reason.
Oh. Then your aunt, the prince, and Claudio have been deceived, since they swore you did.
But don't you love me?
No more than reason.
Well then, my cousin, Margaret and Ursula are much deceived, for they all swore you did.
They swore you were almost sick for me.
They swore you were almost dead for me.
So you feel nothing for me?
Nothing, unless in friendly recompense.
Come, niece. I'm quite certain you love him.
And I will stake my life that he loves her. For here is a paper written in Benedict's hand, a feeble sonnet of his own devising to Beatrice.
And here I have another in Beatrice's hand. I found it in her pocket. It's full of ardent love for Benedict.
Ah, a miracle! Our hearts betrayed by our hands. Come, I'll have you, but I'm only taking you out of pity.
Well, I'll not refuse you, but if I yield, it's much against my better judgment and partly to save your life, since I was told you were in a consumption.
Oh, enough! I'll stop your mouth.
She kisses him.
Oh, how are you, Benedict, the married man?
Oh, Prince! A whole college full of wisecrackers won't make me change my mind now it's made up. No. You think I give a fig about a satire or an epigram? No. A man who can be so easily cowed by other people's opinions is a very poor creature indeed. Now my mind is made up, I won't hear a word against it. Man is a goody thing. As for you, Claudio, I was going to have to give you a whipping, but since we're going to be kinsmen, live unbruised and love my cousin.
Well, I was hoping that you'd refuse, Beatrice, and then I'd have had to cudgel you out of your single life and make a double dealer of you, because that's what you'll be if Beatrice doesn't watch you like a whore.
Oh, come, we're friends. Oh, let's have a dance before we're married to lighten our hearts and our wives' heels.
No, after the wedding.
Oh no, now! I insist. Come. Oh, Prince. You look sad. Get yourself a wife.
Enter the messenger in a hurry.
My lord, your brother John has been detained and with an armed guard brought back to the city.
Oh, Prince, leave him till tomorrow. We'll think up some special punishment for him. But for now, music!
They dance. Lights fade to black. Lights up. Curtain call. Lights fade. The cast remain on stage. Hero stands in the centre, holding her notebook and quill. Lights up. A guitar player joins her on stage.
Hero's song, but who is Hero? Let's look at Hero defined. A person who's admired for their courage and outstanding achievements. Please God, explain to me mine. Never encouraged to use my own mind. Actually, you'll find that tradition had already chosen my lifetime a lifetime ago. That my worth is based on being a good wife and mother, and that's all I've ever needed to know. Hero song, but who is Hero? You, we all know. Claudio, war hero. Was it love or was it libido? When our spirits touched before our words, did you feel it true? Did you feel it too? I thought I knew true love because of you. Instead, you taught me that love comes with condition. Love doesn't ask for permission. Love has no loyalty in its origin. You loved me, yet so happy to marry my cousin. But to deny you would be my corruption. Did you love me for me, or did you love me for the show? Hero songbook, who is Hero? You see, it makes me wonder. I'm not just a woman now, but I'm also a mother. And as a mother, I worry about our daughter. Will you still love her? Will you still love her if slander and rumour play house in her home? We still love her when discussing and disgusting become out of control. Will you listen to her cries? When it matters most, will you stand by her side? Or will you look her in her eyes and condemn her life to hell, just like you did mine? I never want her to feel the surprise of misogyny dressed up in a love disguise. I may not fully know who Hero is, but I know for a fact my love is pure and true. My love would never do the things that your love would do. My body may belong to my husband, but my spirit is free. I'll use my experience to make sure that my daughter doesn't ever follow me. I'll make sure she's intelligent and worldly. And if heaven starts at your mother's foot, well then I'll pray to heaven on earth to guarantee that my daughter can live as a woman in this world unapologetically. Thank you.
Standing ovation. Lights fade. The actors leave the stage.